Good day, Street Smart listeners. I am here today with Kami Guildner, and I am so happy she's here with us today because she's personally giving me tremendous insight to improve my online presence and particularly in delivering a concise message. That is helpful to business owners these days to gain more profitability. So without further ado, I want to introduce a little short bio on Cami. She has done, as she puts, 150 podcasts with business leaders. And with this extraordinary women setup of podcasts, she is just a gangbuster of a presenter. And she's, I don't know all the um, different guests that she's had, but I can tell you that there's some star-studded guests that you should check out her website and go to her website, Kami Guildner. Is it KamiGuildner.com?
It is, yes.
Okay, thank you. And that's spelled Guildner. Okay, listeners. So Cami has a passion for helping women raise up, and you can go hashtag raise up their voices and shine their light because she believes that right now women's voices are more important than ever. She loves to weave spirit and business and help women raise up their businesses for impact. For her, it's all about the ripple effect. Wow, that has a lot of energy to it. So without further ado, again, I'm going to ask Cami to share with the listeners some of the broad brushstrokes of her business story around her evolution and purpose. And, I want to hear about her two top areas of expertise and her natural gifts. So, Tammy, can you tell the listeners a little bit how you gained your business expertise and was able to coach women accordingly?
Sure, Jennifer. Thank you for having me, first of all. I really appreciate it. And congratulations on getting your podcast out there. That's awesome. I know it's a big deal to get it going and put it out there. So it's just a pleasure to be here. And I've been doing business my whole life, right? I started, in a business role when I was 18 years old, and have been going since then. And I really, I was 20 plus years in the corporate world. I was a VP of marketing and branding when I exited the corporate world, leading a global team. And so I was steeped in the world of business, and there was something more for me. There was, I always talk about, fortunately for me, some of the best gifts that ever happened to me was in 2008, I got laid off of my corporate job. And the second best gift was that it was 2008, where there wasn't a lot of VP of marketing and branding jobs around. So it made me pause and slow down and figure out what I was meant to do. So I really stepped into the world of being an entrepreneur probably 11 years ago now. And it's been just such a delightful journey. I initially started helping women discover their next chapter in their life, that what's next. And I was working with a lot of corporate executive women, helping them make that leap. And what happened was they all took the leap into being entrepreneurs, and as opposed to following back into another pathway in the corporate world. And so suddenly I had a very solid base of entrepreneurial clients. And I knew that was a core gift of mine. I'd been doing that my whole life, my whole career, basically. I'd been doing marketing and branding, but I turned it on its head a bit because I'd been going down this pathway of such a deep spiritual connection, figuring out my own journey and helping others figure out their own journey. It was not a linear approach. It was much more a spiritual journey, if you will, into, really reconnecting to who we are, what our gifts, what our passions, what our values are. And so when I started my work with entrepreneurs, it really was grounded in this basis of tuning into that essence of who we are and rolling that into our brand and how we show up in our businesses and how we serve in our businesses. So it's been a really beautiful journey. And I I feel very blessed that I've been able to build the community and been able to be in and have some of the most amazing clients from, just doing amazing things. And I think the other piece of this is my clients tend to be big impact makers. They have a desire to make a difference. And so
Yes.
they have big causes. They have big reasons they're doing the work, that because they left that corporate job for a reason. They're like, I have to have meaning in my work. And so I love helping bring that to life for people.
Yes, yes, that was the essence for me, that you honed into my purpose dramatically. And that's what you do. You're like the purpose articulator. You can pull it out so quickly and succinctly, and you read people so beautifully that you help us to have our, bring out the gifts to shine, and raise our voices so that we can up to help other women ourselves, and help them up too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a core a belief that we have, is to help other women along the way too. So
Absolutely.
you found yours, and you're being able to give it back. And it's just such a beautiful thing. It just keeps giving. But the way you do it is so professional and so complete. And so that's one of the things I was impressed with. When I've gone to a number of these things, and that on online, and you and I talked about my online presence. And, and people say, okay, so how have you developed your online presence? And your digital marketing and presence, your personality shines through. And a lot of people, I think these days, especially due to the changing times and the digital evolution, we have to maximize this as women if we're going to be helping more of our fellow women and men in business. So you had a big dream, and dreams that are not actualized with action really can just actually feel like it's taking us down if we don't live them. So how did you hone into your own purpose? I know that I have created a dream and a vision, and then I try to work backwards. And then I know that what my ideal might look like, and then I have to, with purpose, and then I have to almost, it's not really compromise, but tweak it to a manifestation. So how do you do this for yourself? Or what is your MO?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I appreciate that question. And I think that I think we have to slow down. We have to listen to that inner wisdom that's within us, pay attention to our intuition, feed that inner wisdom, really tap into the mystic that is there to be found. And I think and that's, just so different from what I used to do in the corporate world, right? I mean, I never talked about intuition, or if I did, I was told, oh, your intuition doesn't matter in the corporate world, right? And I learned that I got my best wisdom, my best messages, my best insights and ahas and best ideas when I would slow down and make the space to just be, get out in nature. I do equine guided coaching for my VIP clients, where my horses become part of it. I love to, whatever it is that lets us let go of the noise that's all around us. And heaven knows we've had enough noise around us this year. And we have to drop out of it. We have to pull away from that, and let down the the noise that's around us, and even the bubble of this the bubble of this projection. What we don't want to be projecting who we are. We just want to be who we are. And when we can step into that space, what happens is we open up, we expand to a new way of being able to hear and listen and get ideas. And I think that's the beauty of how I've really learned how to do that.
Yes, yes. And I think the universe was just calling into you and saying, tapping you and saying, you got it, you got it.
Yeah, yeah, and I always say the universe gets all in behind us once we
Yeah.
find that clarity of how we're meant to be showing up and how we're meant to be serving,
Yeah.
and what are our gifts and how are we serving with our gifts. Once we get into that, the universe just gets it gets excited, and the right people drop into our lives, and the right opportunities drop into our lives, and the right ideas, and that's there's so much beauty with that.
Yes, yes. I have been really moving forward with my life in, knowing that the universe is conspiring to support me with my fate, my right direct, faithful direction. And it's not always perfect. And I do
It's
forget
never perfect.
that.
we
No.
never we never hit the perfection, and I think that's the beautiful piece of it, right? As we learned to embrace the imperfection.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just telling you I had this little thing on my eye and I was like, no, we could do YouTube anyway, and I'm so glad we are, Cami, today because we can I've decided that I have to show up and be visible. And I think that's one of the things we sometimes feel shy behind our computer, but we can give ourselves permission in all our imperfection just to be human.
I
And
love it.
then, yeah,
That warms my heart, and it is that it's the stretching into the visibility that can really it helps us be seen, it helps us be heard, and it helps people connect with us, right? I mean, I think that's the big thing. It's really interesting, as you were talking a little bit ago about the whole digital marketing world. It's so funny. I don't think of myself as a digital marketer, and I totally am, right? I mean, especially in this year, right? I mean, it is, but I don't think of it that way. I think of it as connection and community, and how do we come together, and the tool that we leverage is digital marketing.
yes.
But when I think about how I approach my my marketing and the way I am with my communities, it is with just connection, and that's the power of that.
Yes, I used to, I'm in the technology field and this is what I do. I'm building point of sale systems and I'm teaching online payroll, tax filing service with the HR, and it's all these lending applications go through the computer. And I have all these devices and these new machines I work with and, platforms. And I just had to embrace and say, okay, sexy technologies, I'm all in. Okay, I'll just keep going with this, and it's for never ending,
Right.
a learning curve there in the technology field. And it's okay. It's
Yes.
okay. And my daughter, at 29, she's always been such a whiz at it. And, I couldn't believe how fast her fingers used to work over her devices. And, I'm doing okay myself now, but yeah, it's wonderful. And I don't think of myself as doing digital media marketing either. I see these as being useful tools,
Yes.
right, for
Yes.
communication. And like you said, I like what you said about connecting and community and really staying together. It's really bridging. It's really like working with time and space. We
Yeah.
can't be at the same time in the same space right now,
Yeah.
Cami.
Yeah.
So this is like the very next best thing. But I feel your energy. I feel who you are as a businesswoman, and I've known about you and your podcasting, and I've been so inspired that I knew instantly this is that wise feminine woman spirit of the business world we need to hear from today.
Oh
So
my gosh. Thank you.
yes, and yeah, I want to let listeners know more about you. There's a couple of podcast topics that you have introduced that I think, and if you don't mind, may I just read a couple of your podcast titles?
Sure. Sure.
Oh, okay. One of them, thank you, is the Power to Grow podcast, and it was with Donna Gammon. You,
Uh-huh.
you, you had one with Star Coach podcast with Meg Rentschler. Rentschler?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Okay. Rock the podcast, interview connections with Jess and Margie, meaningful conversations. Now, courage to live large with Kami Guildner. I mean, they go on and on, building a soul aligned business and owning your voice. It, clients love language. Women rise up. Your voices with Kami Guildner. These are fantastic, and there's so many more. So I just wanted listeners to give you a taste of your offerings and your teachings, and so I know I'm going to be connecting again. And I want to ask you for the listeners, could you offer a couple of pearls of wisdom, maybe, two, three, whichever you'd like?
Sure, sure, sure. One of my favorite things I like to talk about is build your brand from the inside out. So really get clear around who you are at your very essence and the gifts that you bring into the world. Because if you start from that space, that inside out space, no one can own a brand because there's no one just like you, right? So build your brand from the inside out. Do that inner work and then build your brand. Don't build it from the outside in. I mean, you do have to get into the what your clients need and desire and all of that sort of thing. But start from the inside out. So, and then once you have built that, then you can start to look at it from the outside in and learn to speak your clients' love language. And that's the speaking to their aspirations. There's so much negative marketing that's out in the world. And I'm just so passionate about shifting it off of the negative, scarcity-based, pain-based marketing that exists and turning it around and turning it on its head and saying, what do my ideal clients really desire? And I think that's so powerful. And it raises our energy up when we start speaking to our clients in that way.
Yes, yes, yes. What do the clients desire?
Yeah.
Right. Starting from the inside.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because I think we're going to get that humanistic connection with our clients on a
Yes.
pure level.
Right. Right. You're exactly right. I mean, it's like we have a different, what I actually call a know, love, and trust. There's a lot of know, like, and trust. People talk about that, but I said, no, I want my clients to love me. I want to love my clients. So it's building a know, love, and trust relationship.
Yeah.
And that's different. That's a different approach to how you build community and grow your business.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. I try to take care of my clients like I would as if my best friend was in business, right?
And
And
I bet they feel that too, right? I mean, they know.
yeah, I like if they're not happy, like I'm not happy with something. Okay, instead of looking at it from the corporate world, which and what I'm getting out of it, it's just really more about them, and I find that I'm much more successful this way. Exactly,
Yeah.
we're really kind of saying some of the same things too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you, Kami, today so much. Would you give your website again so listeners can find you?
Sure, Jennifer. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me. My website is KamiGuildner.com, KamiGuildner.com. Also, my Facebook group is Extraordinary Women Connect, and it is all about connecting great women to great women. And we have and helping women raise up their voice and their visibility and get out in the world. So I invite anyone who's interested in joining us over on Extraordinary Women Radio, or Extraordinary Women Connect, on Facebook.
Yes.
I would love to have you join us there.
Excellent. Have you done radio?
Well, my podcast is called Extraordinary Women Radio, but it is a podcast, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
good to know. Well,
Yeah.
that's super. Well, thank you for all that information. And thank you for your gifts today to our listeners and our audience too, because this will be on YouTube as well, and Spreaker and Apple Podcast and everything else for our listeners.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Kami.
Thank you, Jennifer.
And I'll say goodbye for now from successstreet.net. Enjoy your day. Thank you. All right.
Awesome.